Congress just bypassed the Justice Department's stonewalling with a direct subpoena to the Epstein estate, and what they're demanding could expose Trump's deepest secrets. The strategic end run around federal protection reveals how serious lawmakers are about uncovering the truth. Congressional investigators have grown frustrated with the limited scope of Justice Department document releases.
Not much new here. That's the conclusion by Democrats on the House Oversight Committee after their initial review of more than 33,000 pages of Epstein documents released by the DOJ. And it found only 3% contain any new information. A DOJ spokesperson said it provided more than was ever requested. Joining us now, ranking member of the House Oversight Committee, California Democrat Robert Garcia. It's good to have you back on the show, Congressman. What do you believe is new here, and has it opened any new lanes of the investigation?
Well, first, that statement made by that spokesperson is just a complete fabrication. We received 33,000 pages of documents from the Epstein files. Of those 33,000 pages, 97% of them were essentially records that were already in the public domain. These are court documents, reports, records that have been accessible to the public now for, in some cases, for many, many months. And so not a lot of new information. There were some flight logs that were additional and new. About 1,000 pages of the 33,000 pages were actually new documents, of which, of course, we're reviewing. But we spent the weekend, our committee and our team, just going through that entire first batch. And it's clear that this cover-up by the White House and the DOJ continues.
Frustrated by federal obstruction, Congress has found a different avenue to obtain potentially damaging evidence about Trump's relationship with Epstein.
Subpoena to the estate of convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein. The subpoena seeks documents and other material related to the House Oversight Committee's investigation into Mr. Epstein. The estate has until September 8th to turn over the documents that the investigators want. So let's bring in CBS News Justice reporter Jake Rosen, joining us now once again from Washington. So what does the subpoena demand?
Well, a number of things, Reed. The first of which is that book for Jeffrey Epstein's 50th birthday, which the Wall Street Journal reported earlier this year. President Trump signed and left a personalized note for him inside of that. In addition to that, it's generally just dozens and dozens of types of documents that they're seeking that are not related to specifically the Department of Justice investigation, of which those documents started to be handed over last week to the House Oversight Committee. But in this case, it's specifically some of Epstein's personal belongings or things that he left in his wake after he died. Some of those, obviously, Jeffrey Epstein's will, one of them, potential references in any kind of documents he had to vice presidents and presidents. In addition to that, videos of Epstein's properties, and also that non-prosecution agreement that is at the center of that first kind of botched investigation into Epstein, in which the former Trump labor secretary in the first administration, Alex Acosta, reached a deal, allegedly, with Epstein, who said that if he pled guilty to specific charges, which he later did, that nobody surrounding him in any kind of co-conspirator like Ghislaine Maxwell or somebody else would be charged. That prosecution agreement, I should say, is at the center of a lot of the conspiracies and back and forth about what the Department of Justice knew, what it didn't know at that time, and why Epstein was allowed to continue being a free man after he eventually went back to civil life before he was re-arrested years later.
This subpoena represents a critical strategic shift. While the Justice Department controls law enforcement files, the Epstein estate holds personal documents, videos, and correspondence that could reveal the true nature of Trump's relationship with the convicted trafficker. Unlike federal agencies, the estate has no executive privilege protection and limited ability to delay compliance. The September 8th deadline creates urgency around evidence that includes personalized gifts, property videos, and references to presidents and vice presidents. Most significantly, the non-prosecution agreement that allowed Epstein to continue operating reveals how Trump's own labor secretary Alex Acosta facilitated the cover-up. Congressional investigators have effectively circumvented federal stonewalling by targeting private holdings that could contain the most damaging evidence about Trump's involvement in Epstein's crimes. Subscribe and hit that notification bell to track how Congress navigates federal obstruction to uncover evidence in high-profile investigations. Comment below. Do you think this estate subpoena will produce more revealing evidence than Justice Department releases? Your analysis helps gauge the effectiveness of congressional oversight tactics.